Hello, my dear ones. How are you all? I hope you're good. I hope you're strong. Going for your health. It's crazy. It's a crazy world right now. A lot of energy going out there. A lot of levels of things happening. I'm getting ready tomorrow. I was talking. Here's something else. Ebook written by a member asked I share with you. Living Life the Plant Way, Joseph. This includes a 10-day transitional guide. You guys are killing it. Love it. See if we get that on. You going to print this in hardback or something? I tell you what, it just, you guys educating the world and the kids, you can't get no better than that. I met you once when I went to see Marcy at the clinic. Hey, man, good. Am I talking to a male or a female? Wow, I can't read this whole thing, but I mean, you got 5-6 pages here. Joshua Brown. Got your phone number, Joshua. I can be a feminine expression man myself. I am a male, yet not a male, as you say. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, yeah, because don't you want to be, as a man, don't you want to have, you want to be a man, but you also want to be loving and tender and stuff. That's not always associated with the male principle, and I think it should be, don't you guys? Come on. We can be loving, romantic. We can make a woman, come on. So, I think being in balance is more important, don't you? I know we have this cancel culture and all this stuff like that. You can't cancel culture stuff. Come on, grow up. But you can sure adapt and change things and improve the way we look at things and bring about some changes that way, absolutely. But you can't cancel culture because it's always there in the mental world. You always have it. And you learn by the past. If you don't learn by the past, then you're always going to bump some problems. Because I always learn by my, stepping in holes that I shouldn't have stepped in, maybe. I'm yeah, let me help my people not step in that hole. Because that's what it is about. I would expect you guys to tell me when I might be walking somewhere it might cause me a problem. Yeah. Though I am learning to embrace the sacred masculine aspect. Yeah, either way. But, remember, when you're embracing male or female, you're embracing creation. And that's a game. That's a big game. And that's a game that if humans were halfway awake would shock the holy crap out of them just how much life is going on all around you and in dimensions around you. I can't even tell you. You can see them if you just be in the now. You start to see. You can see things that you can't see when you're thinking. When you're thinking, you're thinking. Your attention is on your thoughts. And you're seeing how your thoughts put your thoughts together, because I have to do that to put things together for you guys. Stuff I have to kind of get back. And I'm up at 5 every day, every morning. From 5 on, I'm up. And then from about 2 to 3, I'm up. So I sleep from about 12 to 2, and then from about 3 to 5, and then I'm up the rest of the day. But I have to. If I don't, I can't get the pictures. I can't see. So, yeah. But, yeah, be careful what you embrace. Obviously, I love Native Americans. I love the earth. I love things like that. But that's the game. If you get lost in the game, you get lost in the game. And then the game starts beating you up because you have duality in the game. You have positive and negative. You can't live your life always positive and be honest about it. No, because duality rules. As much as I don't like the negative forces, they're there and they help to home you and tune you and correct some things. And the same thing with the positive. Both of them are essential in the way it is. It's hard sometimes to look at that on the negative side and go, nice. But, because there's battles and there's wars at all levels on this, and it's hard to always pull yourself back and Just always watch, because when you're in that mode of watching and being awake, you're channeling the highest aspect of God there is through you into this creation. See, it's working through you now. It's working through everything it's created. That's why it's created it, so it can experience it. Well, it can't experience it sitting back and watching it. It has to experience it by moving into it. Well, that's why you experience things. That's why you have a mind. That's why plants have a mind. That's why emotions and all this stuff is to experience. But after a while, experiences, individual aspects of itself must go higher, waken up and expand itself even more, because then it expands its dream even more. Oh, we could really have some fun getting into a little bit of articulation over the great divine. But be careful about that. Embrace yourself, obviously, but embrace yourself as awareness, using bodies to express yourself. Get your bodies in a state of health, and you'll be able to express your higher awareness from the greatest possibility that you have, whether you're an athlete, a musician, or whatever you are. That creative flow will come out of you, and maybe even a new flow for yourself. And maybe you haven't had one and you've just been down all this time, and now you get that creative juices going, you get your adrenals going, you get that stagnant acid lymph moving in the body. Because if you don't hydrate and get that stagnant lymph going, there's the medical terminology of diseases. Arthritis is everything that's inflammatory, everything that's autoimmune. That's all just acidosis in the lymph system. You guys know about that by now. How many videos have I done? And we've got horses. We got 3 classes now. We have 2 going up here. Level 2 will be, and then you'll have 3 courses on it. And you know, if you YouTubes, I've sat here for a long time, so you know what system's down. You know, we're the ones that introduced to this planet, and they don't even know it yet. The kidney, I was just telling Jenny that, you know, when they realize what we brought to you on this planet, the awareness of your lymphatic system and the kidney connection and skin connection, that hopefully is a huge oh wow moment, as long as your narcissism doesn't block you from understanding the truth of it all. And as long as you don't let modern A&P cloud your awareness. Now, that's a problem Pat's got to have too, is letting modern A&P with its theories cloud the truth of A&P. You know, there's so much truth in anatomy, physiology, and in chemistry and stuff, and then we leave that world into theories. We're going into the world of theories and chemistry, and I haven't had physics a lot. I've studied it a little because I'm a quantum physics lover. But you got those theories there too. I think you can see more actualities because you're seeing positive and negatives. I mean, the movement of energy, you can witness those at a more fundamental level maybe. But when chemistry, you have so many causative factors coming in and changing the world of pHs and the world of the family of chemistry that, holy crap. I don't know, you know, it can divide the mind and divide creation even further into individual pieces of micro levels. We're into nano and now sub-nano levels. We don't even know how to get into some of those levels. And remember, I told you I've seen some levels that all there's just light. Little light figures moving around dark figures. I mean, it's pretty wild. So this is pretty good there, Joshua. How can I help you? Oh ho! Here we go. This is up my neck of the woods here now. But you were with Marcy here. I could feel and sense the intensity of God coming through your eyes and your heart, and I love it. Yeah, well, that's the only reason I'm here, man. Once you wake up to it, you can't change. Can't come back. It's always, you know, help get her done. You know what I mean? He's a quad, 11 years down. Now C5, C6. Okay, so C5, C6 gives him a little bit of this. I don't know how much he has of this. You'll see a C5, C6. Go back on some of the videos. I don't know. This goes way back. This is Roger Leapart. And he was almost 60 in that video. He'd been down 37 years. Trampoline accident at 16, something like that. Broke his neck, of course, C5, C6. I've reconnected all the way up to C3, C4. Any higher, I've never had anything higher. I think Christopher Reeves was C. I've had C4, C5, C5, C6. But the C5, C6 does give him some. That's right there. The next one down, probably more of a para, but it don't matter, man. I tell you what, I was hoping that nursing home quad would give you guys some inspiration. This kid just heard about us, went to the fruit, watched our videos. Somebody dumped him in a nursing home. Where's his mama? Where's his family? That made me cry. And so, he's getting his feelings back. And I'm telling you, the nursing home's freaking out thinking that, okay, so here's the kid on fruit, all on fruit and herbs. He's getting his feelings back. He's getting things back that even the physical therapist is going, whoa, 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 I got to go back to school. This can't be happening. And yet they think that he's on a malnutrition diet. Really? You creeps. You know, sometimes I just want to bring out that male principle of mine and go, you know what? It's time to, pay the price here. Wake up. Some of these ignorant souls, sometimes it gets to you after a while. Come on, man. And you're seeing right in front of your eyes the magic and the power of God through chemistry and physics, and you didn't even deny it. That makes me throw up. But that's humans. That's why I say quit being humans. But my opinion right off on humans, on quads and paraplegics, 100% fruit. I don't like anything below fruit and berries, to be honest with you. Sorry about that, guys. But there's a lot of sad stuff hitting us right now. Sad cases that are just tough cases that just rips your heart out. So it's tough. But I've never had success at rebuilding quad and paraplegics with vegetable juices, nothing vegetable. It's always been the fruit level. But when you understand the angstroms are 3,000 to 4,000 differences, that's almost as much as most humans are. Period. I mean, most humans are around 6 to 7 maybe, but still, half as much as your energy goes into, the difference between a fruit and a vegetable. Then if you cook, you're down to 1,000 or less. So you want to rebuild tissue and rebuild your nervous system, and you're consuming 1,000 to 0 units of magnetic energy, however you want to call it. Angstroms, however you want to call them. I mean, you have to get the real world of energy, and if we substitute energy for chemistry, then how do you get it? I mean, looking at chemistry, how do you get it? Well, all chemistry is energetic, right? Yeah, but when it's put together in the proper pHs and the proper ratios, it's got a power. Break that power apart. There's a consciousness to that. It comes out of the God worlds. Break that apart, and now you've lost the whole consciousness and the energy that held it all together. So now what you have is individual constituents like B's and your flavonoids, which later becomes maybe your C in a crib cycle somewhere. Just saying. So you want the power of the herb. And of course that's going to be raw. But when you're in a quad situation or a para situation, you guys 100% fruit. And I think your grapes, more of your juicier fruits are going to be better because they're more astringent, yet you've got a certain power there. But that's where I would go. Make sure your fruits, here's our problem, ripe fruits. Anything bitter is more acidic. So anything you taste that's more bitter is more acidic. Sweet is more carbon. That's why I really like carbon. Just saying, And when you're a quad like that, I love the herbs and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't have time to read this whole letter because this is like 4 or 5 pages. I'm going to take this home and read it, and then I'll get back with you on this. That is a longer story, but I wanted to get down to the suppositories first. I've been using a suppository every day now for 11 years, known as Bizicadol or something like that. It seems as if pharmaceutical companies like to hide the real substance of which, you know what? I thought the same thing, especially in what? Antibiotics. What else is in there? It ain't just antibacterial stuff, because bacteria is just in there to help clean your wound. I mean, bacteria is not what's infectious. Bacteria is cleaning the infection. That's what they do. Nature has to have its house cleaners. Don't we? Don't we have to have house cleaners in life? Don't we? Those sweet things. We have to have people that clean messes up to people that make messes. So, bacteria, all this stuff is little messy cleaners. Sorry, don't get mad at them. I cannot find it online. I know that it's a main ingredient in Ducalax. Okay, so what I want you to do is get on My Bowel Formulas, and you find one that will get you to go. Now, you've got to realize in a quad situation, it's even harder because of transferring out of a chair onto the toilet. They don't have this. They only have minimal use most of the time. I can get more out of you and then connect, and pretty soon you'll be able to do this, but that could take a year. You know, I know one quad, he was almost a para. He connected in 6 months, but that was quick. This other kid sounds like he's going to connect pretty quick too. So it's just the young people can connect better, especially with better genes, you know. So you gotta get the adrenals up online, neurotransmitters. You know, you're building myelin sheaths. You're getting into the central. You're getting any brain lesions. You're going back to the cerebellum and all of that. You're enhancing all of those functions, all the CNS functions. You know, if you've been a quad a long time, now you have to reconnect, guy. So if I can get you reconnected, get down on the floor and walk around, crawl around on the floor, get reconnected that way. I got a C3, C4 quad reconnected once, and I called her. I didn't know what to do with her because I didn't have any stand-aid devices. I didn't have any money. But I was paying for her herbs, but I got her reconnected 11 months. I'm going to tell you, this was a horrible case. Head-on car crash, complete spinal cord separation, killed the other guy. Bad case. The healing crisis. Holy shit. One night she'd call me laughing, the next night she'd call me screaming, the next night she'd call me cussing me out, the next night. It was crazy for a while. But once I got that all out of her, she reconnected. Then I talked to some specialists on this. Even, what's his name up here? He was using warm mineral springs to get people connected in the water there. I think he's a physical therapist, but he's well known. Even Christopher Reeves consulted him. Dang, I forgot his name too. He's a good guy. But the top medical guys told me that we needed to get her on the floor and crawling and reconnecting that way. So there's a lot of things. She was down 12 years when I went after her. So after a while, I'm going after heavily out because more trauma than anything when you're looking at a quad, but trauma can heal. So you're almost looking at the same thing when you're looking at a trauma case. You're looking at the same thing as you would in someone that created it by diet. Because you've got to go in and rebuild the tissue that's been destroyed. Well, in that process, you have to remove the tissue that's been destroyed, just like a lymphocyte has to remove any cell that's been damaged. It all goes to where? Is it destroyed and consumed right on site macrophagally? No. That's what they want you to believe. That's what you don't want. You got lymph nodes for that job. But what if you have a trauma case and you can't get the highway cleaned? Trauma is which? A base or acid? Which do you think trauma causes? An acidic reaction or an alkaline reaction? Oh no, you're right, an acid reaction. So the whole process of trauma is acidic, right? Right. So anything that's acidic, what are you going to do? You're going to jump to hydrate. So you're going to jump to everything alkaline to hydrate once an accident has occurred. True hydration. That's not what happens. And when you end up in the emergency room in a trauma case or a heart attack, and you go then from there into ICU or critical care, that's when it goes downhill for you. Not that the ICU nurses are bad or anything like that. We're going right over to the food department to the dietitian. Remember that case that I pulled this guy out of cardiac arrest? I did with my thumb and his foot. And then the crash cart came. Didn't even need the crash cart. I had him up and talking. So we moved him to ICU, right? Then came back that afternoon. He was eating a barbecue beef sandwich with French fries. Post 3 hours MI. If anybody knows what that means, you've had a myocardial infarction, you've had a heart that has no blood flow to it, so you had extreme spasm and then a heart attack, and you're trying to get the blood to flow and go, could even stroke or something during that time. So you've got this young kid, 43, doing this, and so you're now giving him a spicy barbecued beef, highly acidic, highly acid-forming meat sandwich with the negative vibes of death and everything on a bun that's highly white flour, that's gluten, and French fries with you have all the oils that's been fried and all this, and that's what you gave him? And so he died that afternoon. I wasn't around. He died and they couldn't bring him back. I said, yeah, you killed him is what you did. We could have saved him naturopathically. Hell yeah, I could have saved that kid. But no. So, you know, be careful when you enter the medical zone, because you're taking your life at your own hands. So when I'm talking about quads, I'm 100% fruit and berries, and I don't get off of that. Remember I told you about the MS case that I had? She was 43 years old. She was stiff as a rock. She was prone stiff as a board. She couldn't even turn her head hardly. 2.5 months just on fruit. I have her wheeling herself and feeding herself, right? Put her on vegetables to build muscle and green drinks, and what happened? She couldn't move anymore. Just that slight variation of magnetics. Now, what does that teach us as healers? How important energy is to get that into these cells to get them back functioning again. They're the consciousness. You're just trying to wake that up. Right? And the thing that suppresses them is all the acid side coming down on them. Well, what system is that? The lymphatic system. So, definitely want to get you 100% fruits and berries at the very least. And then if you can't afford herbs, you get back with me on this, okay? Because I don't have time to read this as a 4 or 5 page letter, guys. Whatever it is derived from, I can tell it is acid forming. Yeah, there you go. And that's the thing. I like it. This is smart. This guy's smart. That's what I was saying the other day. These pharmaceuticals are acid forming, most of them. And it's like, no. I mean, they went after this company that gave these steroids for spinal meningitis and stuff, and it caused deaths. No, it was an acetate. So they injected an acetate into the spinal fluid. And they wondered why people died with that. I have been concerned about the health of my rectum, even though I have been raw vegan. And listen, that's why I need him on a bowel formula that allows everything to move gently. Cascara sagrada is not a toxic herb, man. It is nice and gentle, but I need you on probably number 3 or 4. 5, okay. What's going to happen, though, as I start inspiring more nerve function and using these bowel formulas, you're going to start moving on your own, or a need to. The problem is how often do you have help to transfer? How often do you have a caregiver come? Do you have someone with you around the clock when you need help? That's what you need, because as we move, we're going. But you got several problems with quads, guys. And there can be many of them, but several. And one is, when you start detoxing, you start hydrating, then the body is going to clean itself out. Well, that's a problem when you don't have muscle power to cough and get out mucus. You barely have muscle power to breathe when you're a quad. You're lucky if you're off a vent. So if you've learned how to breathe as a quad, the problem now is when you break up with mucus. We had a quad die on us several times in the ER, and I told him she's going to die if you don't watch it, and she did on him. So they dumped her in another hospital to die, and I got her out of there, and we saved her. Yeah. So you can see why I have this problem with medical thinking. Anyway, You don't need an herbal suppository. You want to use this because I want to inspire pancreatic and hepatic function while I'm going down your GI tract canal. So I need you to take it by mouth if you can. If you got a feeding tube, fine. We'll get it in there that way. But I need to do that. So you want to get on a bowel formula that will get you to move at least once a day, once every 2 days, okay. But you're going to have a lot of fruit matter. That powers up the autonomic. That helps peristalsis. We're going to power up your adrenals. That then gets more neurotransmitters, powers up your autonomic. That'll then power up your peristalsis. You know, this is how we're going with this. To power these up, we need the kidneys to help pull all this inflammation out of your body, help get some nerves rebuilt. So we've got to pull around the kidneys and work all the way up to the brain area. So healing crisis, sweating, everything that goes into these sort of things. You could feel worse before you feel better. You could feel good. You're starting to get walking movement. Then you can go back a little. Oh, no, I can't do it again. Then you go forward again. This thing is crazy, baby. But there's only one way to go. I'm interested in developing. I would like to make this happen somehow. I understand it may not be feasible or financially. No, we got you covered, man. I do want suppositories, but not for the same reason. I need that peristalsis up here. I need to get up here. I need to go this way to do it properly because I want hepatic and pancreatic on my side with that. So I need that coming in this way. Suppositories are great for, say, tumors or a lot of inflammation, especially vaginally, atypical cells, stuff like this. That would be better. Not so much for moving. And also, you could inject nutrition up there with enemas and stuff like that. But remember, that's on the last way out. You absorb water in the last remaining things. You can get some stuff in, but if I can get up here, I want up here. I was a stronger stomach and bowel formulas. I know that along with a fruit diet, my body would just mimic natural movements. The problem is that it is hard to live a normal day. But you got to keep working your way out of this, bro, and you will. You're here to learn all this stuff, obviously, or you wouldn't be going through it. Maybe some last lifetime you had an accident and someone else got a quad out of it, and now this is your lifetime to pay for it. Who knows? But don't blame. That's how exacting things are, though, in karma. I'm exacting. Nobody gets a ride up or a ride down. It's exacting. But you want it that way, you know? That's how the best teacher is detached from the outcome. Detached because they are teaching the truth. I feel bound to diapers. Well, if you don't have a caregiver, you know, that's the problem. And the problem is moving too much. I get that. It requires a whole process as a quadriplegic. I know it does. Very familiar. But I don't know, you know, in this process of moving you into the well world, you got to go through some of this stuff because there's going to be some ups and downs on that. As you improve neurologically, you're going to move better bowel-wise. And then you've got to cut back because then you move too much. So there's a little game of this. And I don't know how you get out of that game because it isn't a game that I play. It's a game your body plays. And it's a game your body plays according to the condition and the genetic stance of the cells involved, whether we're looking at the genetic level of your adrenals or whatever. But you're at a level systemically, lymphatically or whatever, which would include the adrenals, that you can't come out of this unless you go into a deep tissue rebuilding area. Had you been a raw foodist and been raw foods, you probably would have rebuilt already or been at these higher levels. But when you see a quad not rebuild, because there's been people say 2 quads at the same time, one can get up and walk and the other one can't. And the difference always goes back to the cells, structure, function, and the fluids that control them. That's all what you got, bottom line. So, see how well we're doing here. It says, I have developed a pattern of doing juices most of the day and ideally sticking to no more than 2 meals. And the best 1 meal is that solid per day and the best rest is liquid. Yeah, I know, for the sake of avoiding constipation. Well, the more toward fasting you go, the more constipated you get. So the more electrical fruit fiber you keep in your bowels, the better movement you will have. So the longer you have between meals, the more constipated you will get between meals. That's just the nature of it. I've always battled that too. If I fast, because I don't like to eat breakfast much, I always get a cup of fresh squeezed orange juice. There's some sweet navels out from California. They're really, really good. So I have some fresh navel for breakfast. But as a rule, I might have a banana, maybe some fresh squeezed orange juice. Hard to go out for breakfast with anybody because there's nothing for breakfast that's any good. You got eggs, that's all constipating and that's nasty. And then you've got your meat, so that's all dead animal stuff. Well, then you've got grits. Well, you know, that is corn, I guess, but that's all white flour and constipating, devitalized. And you got oatmeal, that's all devitalized. And if it is whole grains, you got all the starch and the sugars, and then you got to put milk on it to make it taste good, because nothing tastes good without putting some on it. So you put raisins, a lot of raisins and bananas in it. You know, you can do that, but then you have bad food combinations, and you can just keep on rattling off down that bad breakfast thing all day long. So a bowl of fruit is the only thing for breakfast that really sets the day off perfectly. It opens up the mind, it gets the kidneys flushed. That's the only thing that's good, is a big bowl of fruit for breakfast. So think about that, you know, keeping some fruit fiber in that bowel through the day, you know, to keep that electricity going through there. It has been important to me to have timely bowel movement. Oh, it's very important for me, too, to have timely bowel movements, especially at a cod, because you got to remember, you have someone that can't move. They can only do a little of this. So everything has to be dependent on someone to help you. And so that's a big deal, because when you're sitting there with a 150-pound person, you know, something like that, or in some cases you can get up quite large sitting in a chair eating crap, you can get real heavy. And transferring someone like that and working with that with the nurses or the CNAs and stuff, that's a lot of work. Home healthcare aides and stuff. That's hard to move someone, you know. And you can, of course, a lot of those guys already have lower back and stuff, and so they throw out their backs and then they're off. So, I mean, this is a round the posy thing. It's just... Up to 64 days of mostly fruit juices. This is very convenient as far as bowel movements go. A lot less except for the mucoid plaque that was coming out. See what this guy's doing? He's getting his body healthy. His body can't help but respond because you're making your cells and your body do what you want them to do. But we're doing the same thing every day anyway. It's just that you're doing it with more consciousness, more awareness than unawareness. You know, let me just have this Chinese food here today. Let me just grab this Indian. I mean, it's not in, you know what I mean. I did stop at a Mexican restaurant. I've been so busy. So I got a big tostada. Now this is homemade Mexican food. So I did have a tostada. So I said, oh, I don't like beans, no beans, but just a knife, just scrape it over just a little. Packed it with lettuce, packed it with tomatoes, packed it with guacamole. I even get it in my mouth. That was pretty good. I have been considering spending a whole year on liquids only just to see what would happen. You could, but I really like that fruit fiber, bro. I really like that fruit fiber. It definitely will exchange with the cells, the nervous system on the bowel wall. I like that fruit fiber. But keep it up there with that high fruit fiber. One of the concerns with that, how the fiberless fruit juice sugars might affect my pancreas. I'm not worried about that so much because it's fructose, it's a simple sugar. Your simple sugars you never have to worry about. You can eat as much as you want. I mean, these are simple sugars. The metabolism will let you know, because if you're not metabolizing simple sugars, what gland metabolizes your sugars, by the way? Adrenals. How about your beta cells in your pancreas? They're located in the islets of Langerhans. What do they produce? Insulin, right? So what does insulin do? It helps to take glucose, a simple sugar, but an inferior simple sugar, because if you need help, you're a little inferior, right? Until you get strong, you need somebody's help. Well, that's why I've got my hand out to you guys. I'm going to help you until you're strong, right? And I'll help you then past that if you want. But, you know, you helped your hand out and help someone else that needs help. Just share at your discretion. Okay. 36 years young. 36? 36, white, I am not up and walking yet. I am still paralyzed. All right, let's get you walking. And listen, if you need herbs, I want you to get a hold of me. These days I listen to the Hue. Smart man. And that's another thing you want to do is start hewing. Because as you bring that hue, you bring that hue in you. It's just like Om or any of the Catholic Gregorian chants. You know, the Catholicism, you have the old Gregorian chants, you know. And the thing that it brings energy into you, it polarizes, words have vibrate. Everything is vibrational. Everything's frequency. So when you start humming, my grandmother was always humming and singing. She was always happy. And it was always, she was I was over with Shania Twain for a little while in her house, and she was always humming and singing, you know. Good stuff. You should when you're happy, you know? So I like this guy. This guy's really doing good. You know, you just keep hitting that. 100% fruit. Don't deviate. 100% fruit. I don't care if you make your eyes cross-eyed and you look like a grape. You know, keep going. And let me, if you don't have the money for herbs, let me know, or herbs. But I need you on some herbs. I've got herbs that help to regenerate neurons, man. I've got some herbs that really help you in these cases. And then at a certain point, you really want to get into the tonics, bro. I mean, really get, I don't know what your genetics look like. You might send me a picture of your eyes here. I am helping quads and paraplegics. I want you guys out of the chairs. MS, Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's. Get out of those freaking chairs. Let's rebuild our bodies. I know, all fruit for a year, hard to do. Because you're enthusiastic for the first month. And then comes another month, all fruit, and another month, and then the healing crisis all through this. Oh yeah, it's not easy. But neither is being in a chair all your life and putting up with the things that he has to. You have to have help. You have to get up. You have to go to the bathroom. What do you do? Just poop in your diapers, you know, like that. You have no one to help transfer you. That. I mean, it's nightmare stuff. But we can get you out of it. And we shall, if you want us to. So I like this, man. I'll have Val reach out and get a hold of you, young man. These days I listen to the Hue and just meditate and put light throughout my... That's how you do it. Now, this is a higher being here. And this higher being is now learning to put the light through him. There is no greater power than God itself. And what is it? In the lower worlds, it's energy. Quantum physics. Energy is intelligence. Well, what's intelligent if it isn't the divine? Come on. So when you're moving this through your essence and you're not channeling it into thoughts, you're just letting the divine, you're just opening yourself and letting that whole energy of spirit, the prana, the life force, the ek, whatever you want to call it, flow through you. That power and that light. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh. Yeah. And then when you eat it, because you're eating the same thing in its highest form in a structure is fruit. So you're eating it, and the energy in the highest form that it makes itself into structure. You see how all that fits? But you're after the highest mechanism in your body. It's your electrical department, your electrical system, your neurological systems. And the adrenals, of course, give you some neurotransmitters. You got serotonins and things, so you need good movement. I like this. I feel a call to coaching and counseling, inspiring others through my own journey. It feels like a dharma. It is. It is your dharma, my friend. Well, hell yeah. Why would we be talking if it wasn't? We would not be. Yep. My prayer is that the light of God shine through and out as a vessel of honor for the sake of... Well, you will. You already are, my man. That's what you have to understand. Each and every one of you are already. You're just lost in thoughts. Quit thinking so much and planning so much. And wake up, and then your life will change in ways you can't even imagine. Then you'll play and be awake. Ha! How about that one? Play and be awake. That's pretty good. I experience God as my beloved, and my heart sings to God when I hear the Hue. Oh yeah, mine too. Let me tell you, it's deeper than that. I can't even tell you where I stand. Several years ago, on a 62-day juice cleanse, I had a lucid dream-like vision. This was, try having them constantly. Yeah, this was not like a normal dream. No, they're not. Anybody know what a lucid dream is? I think, Carl Jung, those that are in psychology and psychiatry and stuff like that, Carl Jung, some of the Jungian work done now, I think, they call it the Jungian dream work. So that was going way back. So I don't know if they get into that anymore. But they were in the Jungian dream work. They were taking you back into your dreams and trying to get you awake within the dream. Well, you can do that. You can be hypnotized and go back to past. You can go back how far back you want to go. When you hit the causal mind, you've got records in there. You don't care how far back you want to go. How far back you want to go, and do you want to go there? I mean, there's a lot of things to be said for where you're at right now. Where you're at right now, the awareness that you have, there's a lot to be said for that. Past is how you got here. And looking back sometimes isn't always what you think it is. So, there's an old saying in spirituality, be careful what you ask for. Whew. I love this guy. Yeah, because the same way with me. I've had this, I can't even tell you how deep it is. But they wouldn't let me out of not lucid dreaming. I was just lucid everything, because you're awake, you're aware, your attention is in that body as opposed to in several. This was not, I was out of my body traveling across a desert-like landscape like the Sahara in Africa. I could travel, there's so many beautiful places and places to travel like that. I could travel at great speeds under this beautiful blue sky. Well, there's another part of you that can travel just by the very thought. Boom! You're there. Or here. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I was following a male lion. Sometimes I was inside of the lion, looking out of his eyes, and sometimes floating above him. I was the lion, and the lion was me. Yeah, you were getting into worlds of the oneness in a way, where you were seeing things around you were a part of you. There's that's cosmic consciousness if you were at that level. At that level, I've said this before, in Christ or cosmic consciousness they call it, it's the universal mind. And that's the highest part of the mind. The causal mind is just below that. That's where you have the past and the future. That's where the time track really is. But the universal mind is where all of our minds came out of the universal mind. So every one of our minds came out of the same. We can think alike. How many of us think a lot alike all the time? Come on. It's uncanny all over the place. We just tap into the mind, the universal mind. I can read your thoughts. You can read my thoughts. I mean, that's the way it is. But there you see a oneness. But it's not pure consciousness yet. Getting there. Getting there. I had I've taught all over the place. I've taught classes in South Texas a lot, all around Corpus Christi and through Texas and through Indiana and through Florida. And both health and out-of-body travels and stuff like that, And I was in a little town outside of Corpus Christi, Texas. And a gentleman came in there. There were several people. And amazing because it's a lot high Catholic, Mexican. But I had a pretty good crowd at that one. And he said, at night, he says, I go out of my body. And this was an old Mexican man. And he said, at night I go out of my body and I find myself, it wasn't a lion, but it was in a cat, like a tiger. And he says, I can feel my paws on the wet ground. I can feel the hunt that I'm looking for. I experience the whole thing. And I said, probably a past life for sure. I said, because we move through those things. And he said, I figured something like that. He said, I said, but I can help you get above that. I can help you go beyond that experience and, in that. And he said, why? I love it. I said, okay, I can't help you anymore because you love what you do. So isn't that strange? I've had all kinds of things like that through all these years. 50 years of this, guys. 50 years. Woo. Fun stuff. Yeah, and stuff like that, you're going to see all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's so much in creation. Oh, my God, guys. Holy crap. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll have to tell you, it's not all good either. You got your negative parts, you got your prisons, you've got all kinds of things going on at all levels. All I can say is that as this young man here, you really respect the divine and how it's created everything and what it has to go through by creating this. See, it also limits itself by creating this as well. So there's a lot you have to consider, let's say, the big guy got to go through. Wait a minute. That would be creation then, right? I just want to keep you guys on your toes. Whenever you gender anything, you're in creation. You never gender that which is the all. What would you put on it? Because there's male and female here. Yeah, better not go there. Standing outside of the pool in the lion's body, I saw 3 light beings swiftly approach me standing. Ooh, I won't go there. I tell you, it's cool. There's all kinds of cool stuff, guys. He's got spiritual guides with him, no question. He's reaching Paul Twitchell's book, Eckankar, The Key to Secret Worlds. That is one of my favorite, too. Eckankar, Key to Secret Worlds. The Tiger's Fang is a real in-depth description of these worlds as well. Matter of fact, most of these worlds, the far country, a description of the God planes and some of the worlds within the God plane. I started a map. I don't know if I've got it somewhere in a file cabinet. I was going to start a map, a huge map of creation, what it looked like, the different levels of creation, some of the planets and what I knew about, because it's endless. I mean, you could never do that, but at least some of the levels and then some of the frequencies within those levels and life in those frequencies. Oh, you could never do it. It's too much. It's too big, and it's like you can't handle the awareness of it all anyway. I mean, what you think you can? You can handle consciousness, but outside of that, there's no room. The bodies can't handle that level of allness. That's why they're embodied. That's why they restrict you. That's why you can play in the fields of dreams without hurting others so much and exploding it and stuff. Because you're a pretty powerful being as an individualized aspect of the divine. Now, let alone coming in here and knowing that. That can be a problem if you lose control. I felt so inspired and blessed by these writings, and yet darned at times, placing human expectations on myself. Well, you grow out of it. You pull yourself out of those limitations and restrictions. You can't see yourself as human because you're seeing. Seeing is awakening, and seeing is not the same thing as thinking. You have to understand that. Thought and seeing, thought and awareness, thought and intelligence are 2 different things. I don't care what these academic people, they don't have a clue. Look at where academics has led man on this planet. Now you got wars everywhere, and now they're trying to take down the United States. Really? You're not going to bring down the United States without war, and this kind of war, I don't think you're going to win, you rich people. No, I don't think... the trilateral and all, you might think you control the people of the world, but I have my faith in the people, the folk. So a little message out there, I don't know. But you know what? Talk about the desireless state and the alone state. Well, the alone state is deep. I mean, if you want to know anything about the divine, you're going to only find it through that deep alone state that you are and that only you can get to. The thing that keeps you from yourself is your thoughts and your feelings and the conditioning that all these academic people have put in you and the experiences have taught you. You're a culmination of all this. The mind is, but you are just the experiencer because you come from where all this is created. You come out of the Godhead. You don't have to create all this. You don't even have to have it. You come out of the place that it came from. How better is that? All you got to learn is how to play, but be conscious playing and help wake up others too. Because the play at this level isn't good. The play is not good here. The play is negative. It's demeaning. I've never seen so many souls locked in narcissism and hurting others. And oh my God. If you guys know what's good for you, you'll get Biden out of there. for that soul hurts himself and puts himself on tracks that he can be a long time there. Some people spiritually have got to get to those people and start, helping them, because they're on a bad pathway to bad karma. You got to watch how you treat others and what you do to others, because, it's all going to come back at you, especially if it's emanating from you. That's why once you understand the divine and all that, and you've had experiences, humility is the word I want to speak to you about. Be humble, because it's your fanny that can get kicked. Now, if you haven't had it kicked yet from the divine, hang in there, because it can get kicked bad, guys. It's always good to be humble and loving to others, because you're looking at yourself, you're looking at others and go through the same thing you are. You have others that are raised in bad households where men beat their kids, or mothers beat their kids, or both. You got all kinds of households out there. You got all kinds of karmatic things. But each and every one of us, no matter what we were raised in or what we're subjected to at any time, we have to erase all that crap out of us, because that's in your mind, stored in your mind. You're not your mind. You're only using your mind. You're not your mind, dear ones. Your awareness, your consciousness, your God in expression. If you're afraid to take that on, and because you're afraid that it's some kind of polygamy or anything, or whatever they call it, no, not that, but you know what I'm saying. No. Divine becomes that which it wants to experience. Once you get that, divine becomes, you as consciousness becomes the experience to understand it. Your mind can't become the experience, only you can. The mind experiences it through rationales, divisions, adding, subtracting, looking at it from all sides, comparing it to other experiences that it's been fed into, or other images like that. But it's your consciousness that experiences it. It's your mind that categorizes it and puts it in its library. And then it's your emotional body that puts, yay, oh boy, or oh God, or any of that on it. That's not awareness. That's your emotional body. That's your feelings. Whenever you're in feelings, you're in your astral body. And that's the feelings. And it can be real bad too. Depression and aching and hurting and all kinds of things there too. Beat, unhappy, not loved, all kinds of things. But I want you to all know you are loved here. We all love you totally. So, take off with this, my dear Joshua. That's my son's name. One of my son's names. Jeremiah. I can be, yeah, exactly. All right, Mr. Brown. Love you. All right, guys, I think that'll do. Ooh, I got so much I want to read. Subject is all fruit fast possible with adrenals down. I wonder sometimes, see, it's a good point here. Oh, I got to come here and just start reading a whole bunch of these. I promise you I will. Promise. Yeah, when your adrenals are down, see, that's the problem. This goes along the lines of when someone is highly depleted and you're just really depleted, you have no energy, do you fast those people? See? Because fasting brings you energy, but, question, what if you're so depleted, your adrenals down, your blood pressure is 80 over, you go on a water, where do you get your energy? Your consciousness is tied up into your self-pities and stuff like that, and you're just down. You don't know how to get well. You're locked in worlds that no one's helped you. How do you get out of that? See? And that's the thing. You got to pull yourself up out of that. Start looking at yourself going, you know what? I'm responsible for this one only. I'm going to make this one good and healthy. I'm going to have love and tenderness and compassion out of my heart. I'm going to have humility because I don't need a thing. I'm happy with myself. I don't need anything anybody's got. I just love everybody. Matter of fact, I got a lot of goodies I can help you with to help you all get to the same place I'm at. That's how it works. So, but yeah, You have to watch those. I'm going to say that you might have to watch those things. That's why the fruit, yes, but water fasting, not so much. And the reason for the fruit, guys, 12,000 angstroms of energy. What are we doing with the adrenals? We're looking for what? Neurotransmitters. What does that translate into electromagnetic energy? I'm not sure. I'd like to know the angstroms of the levels of a neurotransmitter. Where are we at with that? All you real smart physics guys might know all that. But where are we at an angstrom level or at an energetic level with the neurotransmitter production? We know we're at about 12,000 with fruits. We know we're at about 9,000 with veggies. Where are we at? See, so you can see someone that's down here, let's say a highly depleted human, is going to be around 5,000 to 6,000 angstroms of energy. You're right there. Death probably occurs below 5,000 in humans. And we're eating dead food. We're eating food at 1,000, and death occurs at 5 or so. Oh, so I don't know. See, so picking that law of homeostasis. Remember, pulling that energetic up there with a high form. You're bringing. It's like the same thing as using the hue, Om, whatever word you want to use. God, Jesus. It doesn't matter. I was a Jesus freak for a year, big time. Everything was Jesus, 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 but not in the same way. I admired him as a huge, gigantic spiritual being that helped others find their own way through themselves. Because if you listen to the words and read the other 23 Gospels, you realize this being was here to turn you onto your own light, not turn you onto his light. He had his light. He found his way. He was turning your light on. Same with Buddha, same with all of them. Same with you guys. You're turning on other people's light. I'm so proud of you. Helping others, your children, your families, and others out there. You all are helping others turn their light switch on. How cool is that? I mean, this world is going to go from being dark to a bright light bulb because of you guys. Can you imagine this planet with light? With the golden light of God. That would be truly a darshan for those that know that. That would be truly an earthly darshan from the divine. A darshan is when the divine, through the master, turns on your tishratil and opens you up to at least a higher level of understanding. Fun stuff, isn't it? It's all fun stuff. Don't let your religion or anything bother you. If you want to be religious all you want, but be spiritual with it. Why not? Be free in your religion. Be free and have fun, because that's what every religion is trying to teach you, believe it or not. Whether your gurus or your priests or preachers or whatever know that or found their levels. I've met a lot of ministers that just didn't find their levels yet. I've seen priests, I've had tons of spiritual guys in here. I've had priests in here afraid to die. I had one priest, he's in cancer tumor, I said, and I started talking with him, and he wanted to do chemo at the same time. I said, "You're afraid to die, aren't you?" He goes, "Well," I said, "You're afraid to die and you're a God man? That's the first thing I want to do is get me the hell out of here. I can't, anybody that's had the experience, even closer, even in the astral world doesn't want to stay here. But you go up into these higher worlds." Yeah. You go into these, it's hard to get back here. You got to have a master pulling you and trying to get you to stop, because I'm telling you, it's the most exciting, most powerful thing you've ever experienced, even if you couldn't even imagine to experience. If you can't even imagine, you can't hardly imagine cosmic consciousness. That's where you have the nirvanic experience, the ecstasy is like rolls through you, and it's just like your heart is like, there's no words. There's friggin' no words for that, guys. That's pretty cool. So this is where you're going, all of you, because that's where you come from. It's just that I want to help you maybe a little quicker. But I love you guys now, and I'm going to take a break, and I've got so much tomorrow. We're going to be filming. I've got a lot of proofreading to do over some neat charts we got coming out for you. Some fun stuff. Oh, let me put on my mask so I can get out of here. I don't want to go out with insanity. I went to the hospital the other day working with this lady, and you had your mask on? I said, you're a hospital. When are you going to tell people the truth? She didn't like that. It's true. You're a hospital. You know these things can be toxic to the patient, yet you want them to wear them? Where the hell are you coming from? You sure you go to the hospital to die? I mean, I figured, but at the same time, you know, it is true. You know, there's probably over 1 million deaths with hospital errors, and that's not iatrogenic. That's not medical yet. That's hospital errors, and nurses. You know, and a few things. I know some nurses sometimes. You know, I was joking with my significant. I don't even like that word. My 40-year companion. She's a cardiac nurse, and just some of their things that they come up with is like, really? So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much, and let's get out there and get everybody awake as much as we can, and get you out of the chair there, Joshua. We got to get you out of the chair, and everyone else that's in a chair, get out of those damn chairs. I've got 2 good friends. They're part of our group, both MS, man and wife with kids. Man and wife, both in wheelchairs. You know who I'm talking about. Are you out of those chairs yet, boys? You 2 get out of those chairs. Can't go off route. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's only a year of your life, and you did 1 year off route. Now you're out of a chair. You don't need it anymore. You can throw it away, give it to Goodwill, whatever. And you're free. As much as you can get free physically. So, I'll see you on the next video. Gosh, things are hopping. Fun stuff. Love you guys. Namaste.